The only reason you're hearing my voice right now is thanks to prednisone. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for downloading the show. Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. It's me, your host, Eric, Eclectic DIY. I also have a podcast. No, not a podcast. This is the podcast YouTube channel, also called Garden Fork. I got a bunch of cool stuff I wanted to talk to you all about. And yeah, let's go. So what's with the prednisone? Well, I have had a really bad cold for, I would say it's over a month. And I just got to the point where I also have asthma, and the asthma was, and the cold plus the pollen that's been cranking around here. The camera operator finally got me to go to the urgent care people, who are fantastic. And the nurse practitioner there gave me a prescription for prednisone, 2 small pills every day taken with food. And wow, what a difference. I think Dr. Julia, doctor who's been on the show several times and a listener, will agree that you don't want to do prednisone every day, but to help with something like this until I can get an appointment with my regular asthma doctor, yeah, this is a good thing. So it was, this morning I felt like someone was standing on my chest, and now I feel not 100%, but enough to like, wow, let's bang out that podcast I've been thinking about doing. So here we are. Yeah. I got my sewing machine fixed. Finally. I've been putting it off. And the sewing machine guy is about 10 blocks from my house in Brooklyn. If you know where the Costco is, near Industry City in Brooklyn, there is on 39th Street, there's like a row of, literally looks like tin shack buildings with rolling metal gates. It's all like 1-story garages, which are probably someone warehousing them because they're going to build a condo tower there or something. But there's this guy named Hector who fixes mainly commercial sewing machines, because there is some, I would call small garment district type factories in our area, especially in Industry City itself, because they have those big spaces. And I put my sewing machine that I got from my mother-in-law, I think it's a Singer, I think it's from the 70s, and I put it on my little, hand cart and walked it down there. And the door, it's just such a classic Brooklyn experience. He's watching TV and facing away from the door, and I'm trying to open this ratchety, janky door that looks like it came from a bad screened-in porch, And he just points with his finger up. And I'm like, why is he pointing his finger up? Because I'm trying to, it's one of those, it's not a knob, it's the handle kind. And then I keep on turning it, because you naturally turn it down. You think, oh, turn it down and then push it open or pull it open. And I finally realized he meant to turn the handle up rather than down. As soon as I turned it up, the door opened. It's just kind of funny. I'm like, why is he pointing up like that? But I don't think he had a sign on the door either, anyway. But anyway, he is like the sewing machine whisperer. So I told him briefly what was going on, which is sometimes the thread that's coming from the underside of the sewing machine, from the bobbin, gets kind of looped up. It kind of bunches up under the foot, which is the thing that holds the cloth down as the needle punches through it. And he says, oh, yeah. And he pops the little, where the bobbin goes in, that little service slot there. And he goes, oh, this needs lubrication and adjustment. I'm like, great. And I'm thinking, this is a couple $100. He's like, it'll be $45. And so I paid him in cash ahead of time. Guys like this love cash, by the way. Some people make fun of me because I'm not a big fan of Zillow or Venmo and all this thing. But people like cash. That's what I found, at least. And then I went to the next day, and he had the machine ready for me, and he had this piece of cloth, probably 4 inches by 6 inches, underneath the foot of the machine, and he had stitched a almost perfect series of lines in a rectangle that was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, kind of like a maze. Imagine a maze that's a rectangle and only has one way to go. And so I basically proved that he fixed the machine, and the machine works really nicely. And of course, how do you sew a line that straight? And then how do you sew a line next to it that straight? Do you line it up with the foot, maybe the foot of the machine? I don't know. But anyway, maybe you want to go get your sewing machine fixed. And then the stupid thing with Eric is I had never thought to look on YouTube for sewing machine how-to videos. Yeah, I know. I know what you're thinking. You're talking back at the podcast right now. And then for some reason, of course, YouTube surfaced to me because I looked at Skillshare. I like that company I like, and they have a YouTube channel with little bits and pieces of learning from the Skillshare people that teach classes on the Skillshare platform. And one of them was, I think, like 5 tips to sew better seams with your sewing machine. And I was like, oh, and the light bulb went off in my head. And then I shared that with my neighbor friend who also just took her sewing machine over there and got it tuned up as well. So it's just funny how I don't think things are there. And then all of a sudden, I never thought of that. So I'm kind of excited about doing maybe a little bit more involved repairs. I mean, I just use the machine to make repairs on my Carhartt pants because they're expensive, and some people actually admire the repairs. They're like, wow, you fix your own pants, or they think it's like a style thing. If I'm in Manhattan, sometimes people think it's like a style thing. Eric and style. That's funny. All right. So yeah, check it out. Sewing machine repair. You should do that. Hey, if you happen to use Amazon for some of your shopping, I'm all about shopping local. I kind of make a mix and match of stuff I need. If I need something very specific, I actually will go online and try and find it because at the store it might not have the thing I really need. But we have a Amazon shopping page directly on Amazon. It is amazon.com/shop/gardenfork. And right there I list a bunch of items I think are really handy to have. The power tools I use these Bosch 12-volt cordless drill driver set, which is amazing. It's not cheap, it is amazing. And a bunch of other stuff, some generator, wind-up radios, beekeeping stuff, tools I like. The world of Eric, basically. Amazon.com/shop/gardenfork. If you start your shopping experience at that page, anything you buy, we get a finder's fee for, and that is appreciated. So Amazon.com/shop/gardenfork. I just put out a video about warming up the raised beds with woven geotextile fabric and the fun and challenges of doing that. If you haven't seen it yet, it involves a propane torch. What's a Garden Fork video without a propane torch? And the camera operator is present, and the Labradors are present as well. So it was a lot of fun. The next video coming out is a garden tour video. It's going to be like 18 minutes long, but maybe you might like it. I thought. Anyway, some really good suggestions with the geotextile. It's a woven geotextile fabric, which is, if you've ever been to some greenhouses or nurseries, they have it on the floor of the greenhouse, or if you're walking in an outdoor area, you might see this woven plastic fabric that the potted plants sit on top of, and they have like drip emitters in them or something like that. But it's a UV stable plastic. Yes, it is plastic, but I thought that would be kind of bulletproof because I'd been using just plastic I bought at Home Depot or Lowe's, and that is not UV stable. In other words, the sunlight deteriorates it after like year number 2, and it gets all ripped up, and it ends up in the woods, and you're like, plastic in the woods, not a good idea. So, so I got a 4-foot wide roll because my beds are 4 foot wide, and it was a lot of fun. But what was cool was I got all sorts of interesting comments, and one I just wanted to share with you. It's XXXXX3476. At long last, I found a video that's fun to watch while having a bit of useful information contained within it for possible future use. I think using a length of fine rope to create an edge where the material could be folded over it might be of some use to you. although that would still require to cut the edge to be dressed in some way, unless, of course, you're handy with needle and thread. Hello. And you have quite a bit of time in your hands. Well, I don't know, we could make time. Anyway, I think I'm going to enjoy your content, plus your presentation skills, far more than some I've watched in the past. Glad to have found you. So maybe the algorithm is being kind to us again, you know? But the whole idea of the fabric, you would fold it over on itself, but you'd throw a rope into the fold and then run it through a sewing machine. And I remember my neighbor, who used to have a very big vegetable garden, he turned me on the idea of the woven geotextile fabric, and he used sheets of it that were 30 feet wide. And he said, yeah, I had the guy I bought it from, he sewed them together. So he sewed together, I guess, 10-foot widths together. I remember this now. And I'm wondering, can I, with my home Singer sewing machine, could I sew plastic? I wonder if there's a video about this on YouTube, you know, but that would make a good video as well. You could make your own tarps, you know, because like those blue hurricane, we call them hurricane tarps, you know, you get from the Home Depot or Harbor Freight. Those are sewn with a seam, and it's a pretty big thread though. I don't know. Does anyone know Singer sewing machines? Could you tell me how big of a thread I can use? That would be interesting. And then there's another fun one here. I laughed so hard my stomach muscles were screaming. This was my kind of funny. Eric was so surprised and bothered by the fraying edge that solving it became the video. Still laughing even now. It's a beta test. Love every second. So yeah, that makes me smile, and that's great. So if you can do something to make people smile, you should do that. I mean, as long as legal, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if you know that I am a space geek. I don't know if I've talked about that on the show here or not. But I've been following the SpaceX Starship flights, and Flight 4 was pretty phenomenal. I really enjoy a YouTube channel called Everyday Astronaut. The guy, I don't remember his name, but he just makes everything kind of everyday understandable. That just came out of my brain. I didn't even think of that ahead of time. So yeah, just phenomenal. There's 29 or 30 engines on the first stage of Starship. It is a massive rocket, and they're going to go to the moon with it, and then they plan to go to Mars with it. And if anyone else is into that kind of thing, maybe we could do a podcast about it, because I still have some questions about the size of Starship compared to the size of the Saturn V that sent the Apollo missions to the moon. I'm not quite sure why we have to have such a massive rocket unless the Starship is going to fly a lot of the equipment there. And also, the astronauts are going up in a Boeing-based rocket, and then they're going to transfer over to Starship to go to the moon. Is that correct? I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, Everyday Astronaut, there's, once you start watching that kind of thing, there's a bunch of them that are very interesting, but I think he puts it in a really understandable way, and I really enjoy that. So let me know. Are you a space geek? Yes, no, maybe. Have you thought about signing up for my email newsletter? I really want to make that into maybe even 2 times a week. I shouldn't really comment on that because I don't talk about it till it happens. But yeah, I'm excited about that. The prednisone is making me excited about everything. Rocket ships and stuff like that. But just go to gardenfork.tv, and also there's a link in the podcast notes here. It's really easy to sign up, and I send out an email with a picture, at least one picture of the Labradors, some new podcasts, other cool stuff I found, stuff like that. If you're really into Garden Fork, you want to consider becoming a supporter of the show through Patreon. I do my voice is going here. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. The after show, for this after show of the podcast, I'm going to talk about the ska bands that I watch on YouTube. one of them called the Tokyo Ska Orchestra. Who knew there was a thing like that? If you'd like to hear that, I ask for a cup of coffee a month, and you get all sorts of cool stuff. I post in the app a lot. I just posted some more. I posted a video of me doing something. Oh, looking at the leaves of the trees of the flowers that are flowering. All right, I'm rambling now. Okay, go out and do cool stuff. Make it a great day. Garden Fork Radio is produced by Garden Fork Media, LLC in Brooklyn, New York. Our executive producer is Jimmy Goose. For more information about Jimmy and the custom hollow books he makes, visit hollowbooks.com. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.